The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Looking for a pair of shoes? Let's Up Stores has a wide range of selection for unisex footwear. We have the best quality of all brands at pocket-friendly prices and we make deliveries countrywide. Just place your order or reach us on 0772 08 0090. You can also check up at Let's Up Stores on all our social media platforms. Let's Up, craft your own footprints.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can. Although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be normal.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk. At first, we hit your gadgets with our state-of-the-art digitalized mobile studio with the debate on the road behind the wheels. Later, we launched our magnificent studios located on Plot 1A, Sewagudde Close, Lukulinanganda, Machinde, Kampala, where we bring to you our must-watch shows like The Mighty Drive, Monday to Friday, 8 a.m., Hotline, Mondays, 7 p.m. As for legal matters, Twins at Bar, Tuesdays, 11 a.m., Wednesdays, 6 p.m. is Afro-Caribbean Link, where we connect Africa with the Caribbean. Voltage on Thursdays, 7 p.m., featuring a youthful panel. Interface with Dr. Kiza Besigye every Friday, 12 p.m. with his call to action against injustices. Snap Talk, Saturdays, 6 p.m. with the trio. A must-watch, The Political Dice, Sundays, 8 p.m. with the duo that never stammers, and so much more. Watch us live on all our social media platforms. We are the Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
The Alternative Dig Talk. Real issues, real talk.
Okyali ku Digital TV nze Edgar Matthew Karuhange dakika zino ziri 29 ezakaita ku 2 ez'okumakya. Nsooka okubanga nkyusaamu ku mawulire gemba wadde wayise omufumbiro ye yapostinze ku mukutu gwe n'akakasa nti yasobodde okuba nga escaping oba nga atoloka okuba nga awonna okutwalibwa abakwata mundu abatutte chairman Nyanzi. So si kituufu nti mufumbiro ali mabega wa mitayimbwa wetwogerera. Yes, ali free era ye mu bigambo bye yasobodde okuba nga escapinga. nga nabatusuubiza nina omutunulizi w'ensonga naddala ez'obufuzi mu ggwanga lino y'omu ku founding members aba People Power Movement, whereas some people are contending that statement ngenda kimubuuza era agamba is one of the former personal aides of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Omwami Dennis Tumuhairwe. Sigwe mulundi ogusoose okuba nga tubeera naye, tutera okuba nga tumukyaza wano ku Digital TV, era kibeera kya ssanyu buli we tumukyaza n'atululira ku nsonga n'atubuulira ye mu ndaba ye eggwanga lya Uganda lino liragawa, naddala nga tuli mu political season. Ate ye kikyalaba, is the opposition really ready okuba ng'etwala obuyinza? Lumu naliko n'omu ku ba opposition figures n'agamba naye mwe mutera nnyo okwagala just okusquaninga. What are you doing also in changing the nation if you're saying the opposition is not doing enough? What are we doing as a people? Ekyo nakyo ngenda kuba nga nkibuuza Omwami Dennis Tumuhairwe. Tuli ku Facebook, The Alternative Uganda, tuli ne ku YouTube, same page, naye also so tusanga ne ku Digital TV. Wonna gye tuli okuba nga tunyumya naawe Munnayuganda ali eyo ne wabweru w'eggwanga tukwaniriza nina Omwami Tumuhairwe nkwaniriza nnyo nnyo sewo. Tugezaako okubeera mu Uganda no thriving abaga mumanyi innovations zino tezitera mala mwaka womala omwaka kati tuli myaka ena tugamba mbu at least there is something.
You've done so much progress and mugaseko etoffaali ddene nnyo ku ggwanga. The new age, the new era, I think it's the way to go. Era you have embraced this new era. Era ffe tubenyumirizaamu nnyo. You've hosted the great of one of the great of the greatest. So ffe tuba bamukisa nnyo okuba nga musobola tukyaza wano.
Mazima ddala naffe era tusanyuka sebo buli wojja n'otukyalirako. How are you?
I am all right. How are you, sir?
I am excellent.
Yeah.
Eyo gy'otambulira bannayuganda bagamba bati.
Tetuli bulungi. Uganda is bleeding. Yeah.
Bleeding?
Yes, Uganda is still bleeding, has been for quite some time. Tebinaba kulongoka. We have gone through a lot of trials as a country, as a people. Tulowooza nti bannayuganda babonyaabonye nnyo. Esaawa by now twandibadde twafuna freedom. Bano abakwata mundu we bajja. We thought that by now, considering our history of colonialism, then liberation from the same, then the first leadership, which was characterized with a lot of uncertainty and turmoil, because Ugandans had sacrificed at least a number of lives abafa, and the promise of the NRM government ngejambuyinza twalowooza nti it would be something to write home about. Nga Uganda ndibadde by now, after 40 years of NRM, almost 40 years, twandibadde tuli mu kwesiima. But far from it, we are still in the same old suffering.
One would say that the war was 40 years ago. It ended 40 years ago, and you have had a semblance of peace. In fact, you brought the narrative of
the absence of war is not necessarily peace in itself. Because you might not see guns and whatever tear gas flying around, but when people are hungry or people are being kidnapped and silently being silenced and killed and tortured, and the fact that the constitutionalism has now become an illusion is also a very, very something disheartening. For example, nga tuvude mu musango gwa Dr. Michael Kabaziguruka. We thought that by now all political prisoners would be released. Twalowooza nti because Charlie clear, the Supreme Court had pronounced itself. Nejawo the court martial. Yes. So abantu bonna abali bakwatibwa mu court martial tusuubira nti by now bandi bali tebakyali mu komera. Reason being nti toina ode bakwata. Twalowooza nti we thought that the following day all people in the court martial would be released. If there are any cases against them, babanga tabafulumye eggwanga, the DPP can prefer new cases against them.
Chebagamba nti bana mbate mswaya kubata mkwate emisango mukiteke mu civilian courts. That was even the order.
That was simple. But as we speak now, we don't have a constitution.
2 weeks down the road.
The constitution is tumaze myaka 2 weeks kat now kati tulina constitution nga baje overthrowing. It has been overthrown.
But you know, are you hearing the statements you're using?
We don't have a constitution now.
Yeah,
because the fact is
Uganda bleeding.
Uganda is bleeding.
Kati ogamba mundu tetulina constitution. Sema teka si yafuga.
Tuli kati tuli kumukono gwa mundu. We are being ruled by the arm of the gun because there is no order that is keeping the prisoners in the Dr. Besigye and all other prisoners inside the prison. Tewali order.
Techikugumya Minister Norbert Mao agamba mbuno yes twawulira katuli mu kutegeka kwate kisobola kolebwa mu lunaku lumu. Naga Attorney General yalagide the court martial. We in the process. We are trying to document these things and hand them over to the DPP aja awene benejine misala.
No, contrary to what they are trying to, because clearly as you see, they are trying to maneuver to find a way of working it out. But the order was clear. It said that all cases that were being tried by civilians in the court martial should stop immediately. That meant that the following day there was no prisoner.
After that declaration.
Exactly. That there was no, after that declaration there was no prisoner of a court martial that was a civilian. Posing in a badge yachi, an active serving officer. Until any civilian, their case was supposed to cease immediately. So we expected them to be released there and then.
Yes.
And but now, you don't now try now to you cannot now buy a suit and again start cutting your. You can't. So once you get into here. Already the cases have been decided. The case has been decided. Gocho ino kola chiri chimuchoka act upon the case. Simple as that. If you have charges against them, abantu webalite baduse mu gwanga. Then okumenya sema teka. Court beragira we government to release. You release. Because it was clear. If they say release, you release. If you're serving a sentence, otandika kubala from day one. Now the 2 weeks they're in the prison. How are they in prison for the 2 weeks?
So President Yagamba, this country is not ruled by judges.
Yes, that's Changama.
It is ruled by Ugandans.
That is not Uganda. Ugandans are rule the country through a constitution. We are ruled through the constitution. That constitution is the one which puts in place the executive, including the president. The president gets his powers from the constitution. Museveni tabera obezi takera bugezi kumachana abera president. Nti
si eteka.
Eteka ledi muteekawo. Ekitabo kya constitution kimuteekawo. Bwe kimala omuteekawo kiteekawo abalamuzi. Ekitabo kyennyini ekyo. Ne kiteekawo parliament. Naffe bana Uganda bannansi kituwa bye tulina okukola. So eteeka bwe liba ligamba nti president okoma wano naye abaako ekkomo. Ye tayinza kusalawo n'agamba mbu ye ngaayiye president mbu tasobola nakuinterpretinga. It's not his duty as a president to interpret for us the constitution. His duty is to follow aba interpreting amateeka abalala gusi mulimu gwe. Eteeka teremwako nenda. It's not the duty of the president to interpret the constitution. His duty is to follow the constitution.
In fact,
what does it say?
The people who are supposed to interpret, I think it's the judiciary.
The judiciary,
yes. Kubamu bagategeera ne bagasunso ne bagamba fenga mu ndaba yaffe kino ekiri muteeka tekikwatagana lino oba etteeka lino tuufu oba si tuufu gwe mulimu gwabwe.
And they did a very simple job. First of all, they did not say never charge them. It was simple. Ekyokubiri, I just even wonder why even in the civilian courts, myself,
yes, sir.
There's not been justice. Even the civilian courts. I have a friend, this Umar Magara, who was recently a candidate in Kawempe.
Yes.
He was in prison for 2 years. No, 2 He was arrested a few years ago, around 2020. 22.
Okay.
So he was arrested, he spent 2 years. He was recently released, but he was being charged in a Naweru court, a normal court, but he was not released until 2 years. So under what law? Under what law do you detain somebody, even if they are terrorism charges, for 2 years? So if there are any cases,
Yes, sir.
if Museveni can actually still hold these Ugandans illegally, but in a constitutional way, because
in a legal way,
in a legal way,
but
because
in an illegal manner,
without overthrowing the constitution, because now they have overthrown the constitution. How they could be even smarter. Museveni is actually getting old. His people are just even not smart at all. The smartest thing they could have done is say, now it is simple. We have released you from prison. DPP has prescribed charges related to such and whatever, trumped up as they are, because now Besigye was arrested in Kenya, charged for
possession of weapons in Kenya. Jurisdiction.
Now in our courts here, there is what they call jurisdiction. I think when you are, for example, if I'm arrested from here, I'm taken to the next course, the nearby
area
court, because it is called
jurisdiction.
This is a scene of crime.
Yes.
So I think the next court should have the jurisdiction over my case.
Exactly. Kati obokwatiddwa ne bajja kutwala Makindi.
Kati owe Kenya bamutwalawa.
Kenya, Nairobi, wamkwatide Nairobi, ina mtu anamkotie Nairobi.
Kakati the civilian arrangement, I think did not suit for them. But since they are trumped up charges, they would have released the Besigye and arrest him for being either in disorder, waiting for him to come to Kampala and arrest him. Or say, for example, there is a case against him in High Court with Mukaku. They would say, your bail has been cancelled. If Museveni wants
wali omusango
already, nogamba your bail has been cancelled. Kakati sigala mukomera, because babade bachikola still, but overthrowing the constitution.
What does that speak about when it's now a place where there is no shame, where I'm going to overthrow the constitution?
It talks about
where's the heart?
No, it speaks about the weakness of Ugandans. Tuli banafunyonga bana Uganda. We are so weak. Because that document that puts in place the president and executive and the parliament also gives us some powers. In Article 3, it says we have the duty as Ugandans to resist anybody or authority that attempts to overthrow the constitution.
In any manner, in fact.
And we are allowed to use any what? Any manner, any way. Now, we have a president and his system that have overthrown the constitution. And what have we done? We are looking on. We should have started as yesterday. That is why I welcome the decision by the joint opposition. I think it has been long overdue. We should have announced this about a week ago when Besigye was not released. Because, and even the thing of saying in 48 hours, I think that is even far. We should have started like today. Because now this is about the constitution. We can lose everything else. These are things we can, but by the time now we don't have a constitution, then as Ugandans we have nothing.
You want to overthrow the state? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, we want to overthrow. We want to protect the constitution. It says, I don't have my constitution here. You can look for Article 3. It says we have to fight to restore constitutional order. Article 3 of the Constitution empowers Ugandans to use all means necessary to resist anybody who is trying to overthrow the Constitution, and we fight and restore the constitutional order. And Stephen said that in Article 4, I think, that everybody who is involved in the attempt to restore a constitution will commit no offense. In my attempt to restore constitutionalism in Uganda, I have no offense. So if Museveni is overthrowing the constitution and I fight him, using any means, the law, this book that puts Museveni in that position, protects me also. I have no offense. So Siba na Msango, wekela kumacha ngama ti katugana wane Museveni. Obatuko samanyichi, because tumusubiro kwa nkati yatada abasibe. Yabajadda mukomera. Neko banga chaba ina. Eteka litukaka.
And you remember this is a wrong decision.
And that's what is place. Decision oba wrong oba ntuufu
mbi decision sijikiriziganya nayo
talina kukiriziganya na buli decision. Museveni tali waggulu w'amateeka. Etteeka lyateekawo kooti eyo, and kooti waliwo kye bayita olimu lw'amalamuzi waliwo kye bayita discretion. The court has its discretion. Etunula mu nsonga n'esalawo era eteeka judicial officers bagamba nti tebajja kuwuliriza muntu yenna oba obuyinza or authority when they are making their decisions. Otegera. So court teyebuza ku Museveni because ate Museveni ate akwata abantu. And people are arrested without charge, without any cases, without on trumped up charges. Now when they are taken before a court of law, now they go and argue their innocence. Now if their innocence is proven, now the other one, the accuser, has no opinion about it. Nedda. We have competent people. Atebe yalonda.
Interest in Musango.
These are the judicial officials that they appointed himself. The president is an appointing authority. He appoints the judicial officers. That is where it ends. Then, for them, they are mandated to act independently. Now, when they are acting independently,
yes, sir,
and they find somebody, they are not supposed to be influenced by any person, even if including their appointing authority. Now, if they find somebody is innocent, now the accuser, even when he's the one who appointed the judge, has nothing to say about their ruling.
Wadenga gweya muomu.
Wadenga uwa muomu.
Yukatumuleka akola omulimu.
Aba eteka limugamba. To mugambe nga toyinza na mu influencinga kumugamba nti nomusalire. So ekibonerezo oba ensalawo yaabwe batekusanyusiza gwe ng'omukulembeze. Ekyo kimire okigumire. That is how democracy works. So the man who came from the bush nga preaching a democracy.
One of the pillars.
Alabikanga yerabidde ne byalwanirira. Because toyinza kubeera ng'owakanya decision y'abalamuzi. Omulamuzi gwe walonda mwennyini nga teteeka limukkiriza okuwa ensala nga tali mu kyekubiira oba nga tali influenced. Kati bw'awa ensala n'owakanya ate ng'okimanyi bulungi tewali tteeka muwakanyiza. Amateeka tolina tteeka likukkiriza kuwakanya nsala ya mulamuzi. The president talina power wadde naaka okuwakanya nsala ya mulamuzi yenna. Nedda. Bw'aba nga ye asobola okuwa opinion. Of course he has a right as any Ugandan. President alina right nganze okugamba munnange ensala eyo sikanyiza nayo. Naye toyinza gamba nti njiwakanya. No.
Ntino watu okanyiza nayo jaji implement.
Ojigondera ebantuufu according to the law.
Kati wowulira omuduumizi w'amajengo agamba he was shocked. Nakose kigambo it is unacceptable.
Kati eje nkugamba eyo, that is the impunity we talk about, where the general, the good general, the son of his father, they say cut from the same what? They were knit from the same cloth. Ndowooza olaba as father, like son. Like son. So wabanga taata we eyamuzaala. Now that proves to you kyekikulaga nti ddala ono taata wooli. That shows you.
Naye kati akute office ey'amaanyi ono ye muduumizi w'amagye g'eggwanga lino.
Yeah.
Agalina, like he commands all the agencies that are supposed to enforce.
Personally, me have no problem with General Muhoozi Kainerugaba being the CDF of this country. I believe he has the qualifications as an individual because I've seen him in the army. The last time I started knowing the general after school, he joined the army, and he has risen through the ranks a little bit faster than others. But you'd say, Kale, granted, the only challenge I have that we expected General Muhoozi to grow up and act it and give the position he's in some respect. If you are the commander-in-chief, I have no problem with Muhoozi being the general, the CDF, is it?
Chief of Defense Forces.
CDF. But my issue is he does not have any respect for that office. Office tajwa kitiibwa, office agiswaza, akola ebintu ebitajja. Now, he should be, his roles as the commander would be to protect. He's also below the constitution, not above the constitution. He has a book he serves. He knows he's supposed to protect Ugandans and abide by the rules of the land. He has no place giving his opinions his sentiments.
He's also a presidential advisor.
What they speak with his dad. Over a cup of tea, I don't know. They should not see the light of the day. Those are their personal opinions. His duty as General Muhoozi is to protect the Constitution and make sure we see, because we have a challenge in this country that people are yearning to see a change of government, a peaceful change of government.
Put it yourself.
At a time when we think his father is about to retire or whatever, we think that now we need a stable army. We need somebody sober at the helm of our army that can oversee transition. We don't expect bloodshed.
Kubanga army is very vital mu history yaffe n'engeri ebuyiza gye bukyuka.
Even in transition. Yes. In transition amaje g'amaanyi nnyo nnyo ga mugaso.
Ngabere nnyo vital.
Bulaba akulira amaje mu kiseera nga tuli mu mbeera eya transition nga yeyisa ngwa mwami Muhoozi bwe yeyisa. That is a recipe for disaster. We don't want that. In Ghana, there was a time when there was a change of guard. Eyali government in Ghana. It was the CDF at that time who went to the opposition offices and actually decorated the other gentleman who had won Nagafe to serving at the office. We don't serve the person. Yes. It was very vital. But if the army had decided to side with this person, but it shows you the vitality. One of the tools that propel democracy is there such institutions like the army world over, not only here but world over. We saw even Trump wanted to abuse the army in his first term, but they resisted him. So you need a sober army. So Muhoozi should know his position in this country. It's very important. We thought, me myself, we are trying to now to rethink our earlier positions. It's not a problem having Muhoozi as our commander-in-chief. I'm starting to have a second thought. I think I was wrong. Because a man qualifies. Babanga qualifying, regardless of whose son he is, I had no problem him being in that office. Never abanga abusing the office. Ishtegeza tagenda kukola betu musubira mugabana Uganda. Then we are doomed as a country.
Ngamba yechawanga Besi yagamba nti nze ndi also an advisor, a presidential advisor on special operations. Tolowooza nti nja kusirikira ensonga zino nga nzira bazigenda maaso mu ggwanga nga special advisor.
Is his father's advisor. How do you advise your father? Who is your appointing authority?
Tosobola ko
nene
osobola.
It is a joke.
Gwe tosobola kugenda watata ono mu advice kati ku myaka gy'oliko with experience gy'ofunye. I think you are a person who's very good to advise your father right now.
Yes. So, I can advise my father.
Exactly.
I am an independent man. If I worked in my father's company, where he appointed me as an employee, I work in his company on his appointment, what will I advise him? I'll just say, yes, Dad, you're right. The guy who appoints me gives me an opinion. What would I say about his opinion? Yet he's appointing me, and he was the boss before.
No, he's appointing you to do the job of advising him.
You cannot advise. Some things...
That's why he's paying you that in Pamagezi.
Especially a man like Museveni, who is known to be the one advising his advisors. A man like Museveni, who is known not to take advice, cannot be advised by anybody, including his son. And a sycophant son, for that matter. So to use that word. A son who does not... I've never had a man, that man disagree with his dad. At least you would say, there are some instances where we have had him disagree with his father. Then you would say,
yeah, but there are some instances he has disagreed
with his dad.
That if it wasn't because of my father being here, some people would not be. He says my father is protecting some people that I have wanted to have interest in.
So his father, if
the father is the limiting factor
from him from him committing crime,
doing what?
People. What is it? You want to kill people, and he says it's only his dad who is standing between him and. But I think some of those I told them, I take them as jokes. Some of them.
But those are words, and they are coming from the CDF.
You see, some could be the same CDF who said that if some statements don't have his signature, we should not take them serious. Now the one I took serious is when I heard from his mouth saying it's unacceptable. And
shocked them.
That shocked me. I thought the tweets were normal tweets that a man was to joke around. Uganda manye sanyu abantu basanyukanye na Uganda banyuba anti ne president yagamba one time kitandise okumunyumira ki Uganda Uganda
kitandise okumuomera
kitandise okuwoma Ugandans joke a lot. Ugandans have so much fun. So I thought the guy would be joking until I saw him in his face like this saying the ruling by the Supreme Court was used two words.
He said he was shocked and unacceptable. There's also another third word.
He said unacceptable and whatever from his mouth. That shocked me, honestly, because there's a bulijo manyu guy abera akolaki asagasagamu bya Twitter tali serious.
Guy gogamba asagasagamu yegambye wa NUP bagenda muwulira recently kumukutu ogwenyini utwogeranga batandise okubanga babulawo.
Now
these are the jokes you are saying that we are taking as jokes.
No. That's why I'm saying I used to think the guy was joking, because this thing, as a person, that man was born in the war. He was raised as an infant in the war. I heard. Maybe they told him he was in Kenya, then
was in Sweden,
but at least he would see that there were struggles. He is a child of the what? Of the war, you would say. Then, growing up and seeing Uganda, he would be a good example to others. And rising to the top post ranks, he would be an example. He would think. But now, if he has not learned anything, a man who went to school, because we're not talking about chaps who didn't go to school, a man who is very learned. And a man who knows what this country is about, the history of this country, and what his position means to the stability and the continuity of this country. Even if it meant his father's legacy, even if it meant protecting his father's legacy, Muhoozi would be an example trying to show that what he's doing is spoiling everything. Whatever small his dad ever did, this man is going to spoil it.
But what does he speak when there's nobody who even terms?
And then he becomes, he has this, who will term him? His dad? Because I am starting to believe that maybe his dad was long captured. Is it possible that the guy we think is commanding leading the government of Uganda is no longer in charge? You know, when he invited the traders in Kololo, Kasita told him, one of the traders asked him, "Anafuge gwanga lino." That's the president. So kotubulire anafuge gwanga lino, and he had no answer. Is Museveni in charge of this country?
Let's take a break. Let's take a break. Is Museveni in charge of the country? We go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we continue the conversation, especially looking at all these things that are happening in the country, but also how best can Ugandans deal with these things. They sound small, but yet big in nature, as things that we are taking lightly, yet trivial and very important to the stability and the history of this country. My name is Edgar Matthew Karang. I'm still with Dennis Tumuhairwe, a political analyst and also a former member and founding member of the People Power Movement, and of course one of the close allies to that particular affiliation. We take a break now. The Mighty Drive show continues shortly.